Hi, it's Pavel with a C# exercise. This one is simply called anagram. We are given a string array with words or of words. Some of the words are anagrams, which means that the letters from one word form the second word. For example, a word form is anagram to the word from, because you can do FORM and you would get form. And of course in reverse you could get FROM and you get from. Alright, so that's anagram. Now we are supposed to create a program that determines which words in the array are anagrams, and I'll put them on the screen. So that's the task. So let's create the string array of words, and I already have the words ready. Over here, the words that are anagram, for example, the word Pavel is an anagram to word, well, it's not really a word, I just made up some, messed up the letters, Valop, and as well to Volap. These two words, or these three words, are anagrams. So we are not, in this exercise, I'm not going to just assume that there's gonna be only one anagram for each word, if there is any, but it might be multiple ones. The original exercise, the words they provided, it simply had one anagram for one word. Now the word total does not have an anagram. Form, it has the anagram from. Something, it looks like it might be anagram to something, but it's not, because obviously there's a space in between. This is actually two words. And then there's the word ABBA, which is the anagram to, it keeps moving, BAAB. And the word total looks like totals, but it's not obviously an anagram because this one has an S at the end, so it's not an anagram to the word total. Alright, so this is our array, this is our test words, and alright, let's get to code. And so I have the words. Now I'm going to create a list of strings. I'll just call it result, and this will be holding the letters from the array that are anagrams, and then we will output them. You'll see it later, but basically I will loop through the words, and if I find an anagram, I'll put it to the list result. And finally, let's create a boolean called match, and it's going to be false. So, assuming, or by default, we will assume that no match or no anagram was found as we loop through the words. Now, the original exercise didn't ask for it, but I'm going to also create a loop. I equals 0, I is less than words.count. So we will loop through all the words in the array. And the reason I want to do it is that I want to trim all the spaces. Or in this case we don't have any, but we can make some. So what this does, it simply takes the word and checks and places it back to its spot, but now without spaces. So let's we can put some spaces in between some of the words, just so we can test this later. Now, it's not really necessary to do it this way. We could use the trim function throughout the program, but we would have to use it on several spots. So this way we will simply get it out of the way in one loop, and now the array words contains only words already trimmed with spaces. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay, so let me just write a quick comment in case you are downloading the source files. So it's string spaces. And now let's loop through array starting with first word. So now I'll take this word and I'm simply going to compare it to every other word with every for each letter. Now the way we're gonna do it is basically we're gonna have 2 loops. It's going to be nested loop. So I'm going to start with the integer I equals 0 and I is less than words that count. However, that count minus 1, and let me just explain in a minute. The reason is that when I'm comparing the first word, I'm comparing it to this one, then this one, and so forth. But then at the end, I'll come to this word, I'll compare it to this one, and I don't want to compare this one. This is the last one, so there's nothing else to compare it to. So this is the last word that I'll be comparing. This is the last word that we need to compare, because this one, well, like I said, there's nothing to compare it to. It already was compared with all the other words before that. So if you don't have minus 1, if you go all the way to the end, it will try to take this word and try to compare it with the next word, which doesn't exist, because the inner loop will have simply I'll call it C. It will equal to I plus 1. It's gonna be the next word. So I'll compare. This is I and this is I plus 1. So I'll compare this word with this one, and then I'll compare. I changes. I mean, I doesn't change yet. In the inner loop, only C changes. So the next word, I'll comparing this one to this one, then this one to this one, and so forth. And that's what I said at the beginning. The last iteration for both loops, for I and C, will be comparing this word, which was I, with this word, which is I plus 1, which is C. And that's the last comparison we will be making. Alright, so in this case, in the inner loop, we'll go all the way to the end of the loop. So it's gonna be words that count. And of course, we'll increase C. So again, we're comparing this word I with I plus 1. I, now we're comparing with this one, because this is C. So C increases inside the loop. So now C basically is increased by 1. Even though I stays at 0, C now will be 2. And the next one will be C will be 3, even though I doesn't change yet. I is the outer loop. When we run all the iteration from the inner loop, then we'll get I increased. So we'll start from here and comparing to every other word, every next word from there. And again, then from the word form, we'll compare all the other words all the way to the end. Okay, so let me just write over here that we are loop through array starting with the next word in line. All right, so now anagram basically means that like I said, the letters from one word, or let's say vowel, are the same or form the other word. So if you say vowel, it creates the word volab, and it also valob, and also the word volab. If you rearrange the letters, you'll get the word vowel. So the first condition that we can check, so we don't have to loop through each letter, is whether they contain the same number of letters. Obviously, if vowel has 5 letters and the word form only has 4 letters, there's no way they can be anagrams, because the number of letters must match. So we'll go only compare if words only see if words match, if number of letters matches. In other words, if the letters don't match, don't even bother comparing the letters. So we go to a little condition if words, and we are now comparing the word from the outer loop, so it's words I dot length. So if it's the same number of letters, if the length is the same as the inner loop word that we are comparing to, which is the word C dot length, and length, then we can do the comparison. It's capital. All right, so again, we don't have to bother comparing the individual characters if one word has the number of characters is not the same. Now, think about how to figure out if they're anagram, and it's actually fairly simple. What we have to do, we simply have to arrange or kind of split each word and arrange it alphabetically, arrange all the letters alphabetically. So, for example, I have the word Pavel and I have the word Valop. So if I arrange the letters from the word Pavel alphabetically, I'll get A, and then I get L, then what do I get? O, P, and V, right? And if I arrange these words, these letters alphabetically, I get the same order, or basically the same word, so to speak, even though it doesn't make a sensible word. It's basically a string, and these two strings match. So what we have to do, we have to one way to do it is to convert the word to a character array, and then they sort the array sort the character array alphabetically for each word that we are comparing. So, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I'll do convert both words to character array, and it's a fairly simple thing. So I get character array, I'll just call it A equals words I, and I'm gonna change it to upper because otherwise it would not match. But in our case, we don't really care for the case. Now I could have changed it right here, but since I'm going to actually output each of the original words, I didn't want to do it. I want to do it only for the character array, not for the output itself. So to upper, so I'll change it to upper, and I also will change it to character array. So now I have a character array A that contains the word Pavel, except it contains the letters for the word Pavel, not in alphabetical order yet. And character B equal words C, and again to upper and to character array. So now I have this word and this word. Well, actually, yeah, this word too, because this one has 5 characters just like the word Pavel has. So it is going to compare it because this condition is in fact true. So now I have the word Pavel, or the letters for the word Pavel and the letters or the characters for the word total in arrays, and now I can sort them and compare them. Now before I compare them, remember the Boolean match that we had? I'm going to set it manually to false. I'm going to assume that they don't match, and I will only change it to true if all the letters actually match. Alright, so now let me just sort them first. And to sort the arrays is array.sort, and we are sorting array A, and we'll do the same for the for B. So this now array A and array B, since this is an array, it's all being changed by, because it's by reference, it's not an actual value. So now the array A is alphabetized, so the characters are alphabetized, and the array B has the characters alphabetized. So now we can simply loop through the characters and see if they match for both of the arrays. And it's fairly simple. So I will loop through each letter in both words. Now I don't have to worry about whether the I'm going to loop, but I don't have to worry about going out of bounds for the loop if the number of characters don't match, because they do match. Again, this is only going to happen if the length of both words is the same, so I don't have to worry about it. So, but let me just write it down. The length, the words matches, so we do not need to know the exact number of iterations. What it means basically that we can do a for each loop safely for both words, because their length is the same. So we do character, I'll just name it X, in A, that's the first character array, and now we will simply do a simple if statement. If they match, good. If they don't, not so good, I guess. So if X, which is the first character, or which is the character from the array A, matches the B array character. One thing I forgot: we need a counter. Otherwise, I won't be able to know the index of the letter which I'm currently comparing. If I have the word total, I need to start from element or index 0, then 1, 2, and 3. But since we are using for each loop, there is no counter, so I have to manually create a counter. So let's just do a counter and set it to 0 here. So if X, which obviously starts from the element or index 0, matches the B, and our index is called counter, then we have a match. So match equals true. Now this is only one letter, this is not the whole word. That's why it's the for each. So each time it matches, it will set it to true, but once it doesn't match, then it will set it match to false. And in this case, we have to simply break out of the loop. Otherwise, if the last letter matched, it would actually just come over here and okay, the last letter matches true, but it's no longer true in our case, because we want all the letters to match. So as long as they all match, it will just keep coming here. But if there's any letter that doesn't match, it comes over here, it says match to false, and will break immediately out of the loop. Now after the for each loop, I of course have to after the end of it, I have to increase the counter to the next value. So again, this is looping through the word, through the letters. It starts with P, it comes to T, or compares P with T. They don't match, it comes over here, sets match to false, break out of the loop. With the next word, let's say it's comparing Pavel with Volap. Remember, they're alphabetized, so actually it starts with A, so it compares A with A, so it matches, it sets match to true. Then it goes to L. This will be L as well because it's alphabetized. Remember that's what we did over here when we sorted the array. So they match. and it goes through all 5 letters, and they all match. So now match is set to true at the end. So now we can use that condition. If we have a match, then we can add that word to our result, because that is an anagram. So if all letters match, add the word to the list. So if match, we will do result.add, and we are adding the words. We are adding the word C. That's the second loop, not the original one. I mean, not the first word that we are comparing, but the one that we are comparing it to, which is obviously going to be all the other words after Pavel. And then, of course, when we're comparing total, then it's going to be all the words after total. When we're comparing form, then the array B holds all the words after that word. All right, so that's that. And one thing we need to do now. Remember, originally they only had one match. For like Pavel would match one word, and that's it. In our case, since I'm also making multiple matches, so the word Pavel matches Valop as well as Volap. So if I now I have Pavel matched to Valop, but when I come over here and I start comparing Valop to totals, it's not gonna be a match. But then when I compare it to Volap, it is going to be a match. So I will have these basically double. It will output that Pavel is anagram to Valop and Volap, and then it will output also that Valop is anagram to Volap, but it doesn't say that it's also anagram to Pavel, because we are not comparing backwards, we're only comparing the words after that. So since there are multiple words, one way to do it is simply, once we find an anagram, like the word Valop, we can remove it from the words array. But we cannot remove it from an array. We would need a list. So what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to replace the word or set it to empty. So again, Pavel loops through these words, finds the word Valop. So Valop is added to our list result, and then it's set to an empty space like that. Then Pavel goes to totals, doesn't match, then it goes compares to Volap, it's a match, so it adds Volap to the list and then sets it to empty. So then it goes to total and all, checks all the other words after that, but then it comes over here and it tries to match an empty string, which it actually finds right here. And if there were any, like a form matches from, then from will be empty as well. So suddenly I will have a bunch of empty strings considered anagrams, because they are match. So one thing we can do, we can come over here to our if statement and compare the words if the length matches, and if the words I, in other words the outside loop, if the word we are checking is not empty, because we don't want to compare spaces. So basically it comes to, again, if these words are now empty space and it comes over here to check it, it skips it, because now it comes over here and it says, and the word is not an empty space. So since it is, it simply skips the whole if statement and goes to the next word, which would be this one. Then it comes over here again, it's space, so it skips it and it goes to the next one. All right, so that's one way to use it. I mean, again, we cannot just remove it from the array. So that's that. So we have the match, we have the list of words, that match the word that we are checking currently, or that we are comparing. So let me see where the brackets now end. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So here it is. For loop, yeah. So after the the inner for loop, we can output what we have for now in the list. We can output something like if list is empty, no match was found. And if it is not, then we can output the result. So if result dot count is actually, it won't be empty. There will be at least one word. Let me think about it. Yes, because over here, the outer loop, we have to add the first word that we are checking into the list. So it will be, yeah, let's do result.add, and we will do the words I to it. So now we have the word Pavel in the list, because we are checking the word Pavel, so I want it in the list with all the other words that are anagrams to it. So it will have, at the end, it will have the word Pavel, Balop, and Volap in it. All right, so not if it's empty, but if it's if the list is equal to 1, no match was found, because there is only one word. In other words, the original word. No, like for example, for total, we don't have any anagram, so the only word in the list will be the word total with no match. So if the counter, if the count is greater than 1, in other words, if there are other words, not just the original, and remember we have the spaces, the result 0 doesn't equal to an empty space. That's because we will have the empty spaces in the list as matches, but we don't want to output them, basically. So I'll go through this with the debugger on, and you will see how it populates the list. So if this is true, then we can do console.write anagrams, and actually, yeah, console.write. Let's just do it all in one line. So for each string s in result, now we are having the going to output the whole words, not just the, we don't deal with the character arrays anymore. We are dealing with the result list. So we will do console.write, and we will output s plus space, and then after that it will be the next word. If there so console.write line, so we move to the next line. All right, so that this is going to output the result from the list. So at the end, we're going for the next iteration for the next word. So we will have to reset the list. So in other words, empty it. So result.clear, and over here I'll do console.read key, so we can pause the screen when we run it in a debug mode. All right, so let's see what we get, if it's gonna compile and build. And here we are, anagrams, Pavel, Valop, Volap. So all three, then the anagrams form and from, and you can see that it keeps the capital letters in the output, but it does not mind that this word form, or these two words, are lowercase. And the same ABBA and BAB is an anagram. So yeah, it seems to be working fine. So again, let me just recap. We have the words, we have multiple anagrams in the array. We have a list that will hold the anagrams for each of the words, so one loop at a time or one iteration. So the first iteration will be Pavel, Valop, and Volap, and then it will just hold total because we are putting the word that we are currently comparing to the list. The result we're doing it so we can output it together with all the with its anagram. If we didn't do it that way, then if we don't, let me just comment this out. If we don't add the original word to the list at the beginning, and we come over here and we say if it's greater than 0, in other words, if there's at least one word, it will still work. But now I'm missing the first word that I'm comparing it to. I'm comparing the word Pavel with the rest of them, so it's not there. Or the word form is not here, only the anagram to it. So that's why it's better to add it to the list at the beginning, so we have the result or the output combined with so all three words are there for the word Pavel, and both words for form and from, and the same Abba and Bob. Okay, so here we go through the this is just to trim the spaces. Now we are iterating from the word. We are doing it count -1 because we don't want to go all the way to the end. We want the word one word less because we are comparing two words. We are comparing this one and this one. So at the end, we want to compare this one. It keeps moving all the time. This one with this one. We don't want to compare this one with anything else anymore because that's the last word. So that's why this one is count -1, and this one starts from I plus 1. In other words, to the next word from the one that we are checking. So that's how the loops work. First we check whether the length of the word is the same, because again it makes no sense to check the for anagram if the number of letters don't match. We making sure that it's not an empty string, because later we are replacing the words that we found to be anagrams with empty string, or with a at the end we don't want to be checking the strings, because those are not really the original words. It's just something we do to make sure that we don't check these words again and again. Like if there are, like for example, again I check the word Pavel, I get Volap and I get Valop and Volap, but then I come to word Valop and I still find the word Volap, and it's already part of the anagram with Pavel, so I don't want to repeat it again. So that's why the words that we found to be anagrams we will replace with empty string. So that's why we have to check. If it's an empty string, don't even bother, or if the words lengths don't match, don't even bother. Now if everything is correct, if it's not an empty string and the number of characters matches, then we convert everything to uppercase and to an array, character array. We will sort the array, basically organizing each character, the characters alphabetically, and we will reset our flag match to false. We'll set the counter for our for each loop, and in our for each loop, that's where we actually check in each of the characters in the character array. Since they are alphabetized, basically all the letters, all the characters from A must match all the characters in the same order in B. And if they do, if the characters match, we set it to true. Once we find any character, it doesn't matter if it's first or last, that don't match, we'll set the flag match to false, and we'll break out of the for each loop. And but if all the characters match, we'll never come to else statement because all these match. So all that happens, the for each loop ends and match is set to true. so which we check over here. If match is true, then we got the anagram. We can add it to the result, and again we replacing that word that we just found with an empty string. And after that, we have, since we have found the anagram, we will output it to our console.write for each statement. We're using console.write because if I do console.write line, if there are multiple words, you can see it will output it under Powell rollup, like one in each line, and I'd like to have them on one line, so that's why I'm just using console.write. After we found it, after we output all the anagrams, we will simply move to the next line and to the next word. So we will reset the result to clear. That's our list, and go to another word to compare with the word from the words array. So if you want, this is basically all, but I'm going to run it through a debugger again, just so you can see what is happening. And if I run it, so now I'm going through the word Powell. So this is the outer loop. So now my result has the word Powell in it. That's my list. And the first thing I'm going to compare is the word total. Now remember, this is all the spaces are already removed in the previous trim all spaces over here. So the number of characters actually matches. Number of characters in Powell is 5. Number of characters in total is 5 as well. So this condition will be true. So it will come over here and checks the length, and it matches. So now it does character array from both of the words. So you can see that I have each letter now separated. At this point, they're not alphabetized yet. So I have the word Powell on A, and I have the word total, T-O-T-A-L, in B. So, but if I run array sort A and B, the result is now alphabetized. You can see there, and the same for B. And now the first word, the first letter in both is A. Actually, the first two letters would match, A, L, right? So A-L-O even. So 3 letters actually for Powell and total match. So it will come over here and it will match the characters, and the first characters match. Both are A's. So it comes over here and it says, oh yeah, it matches because the first is A, you can see, and the first letter in B is A as well. So it comes to the next one and it matches as well because the second letter in both is L. So it matches true. Third one, oh, still matches. It's O in both. So it comes over here, but now there's no match. Now this one is P and this one is T. So now it will skip this. It will go to else. Match is false. It will break out of the loop directly, and it comes down to this condition where it says if match, but the match is false, so it's not going to output anything. And it goes to the next word. And the next word is form. You could see it skipped once it comes over here because the word form has only 4 letters. The word Powell has 5, so it doesn't even do any match. It simply goes and skips everything, and it goes to the next word, which is something, which again the if statement will be not be true, so it's going to skip all the way to the end because we don't have to compare these two words. And again, ABBA has only 4 letters, so that is gonna skip. But now it comes to actually the word value, which is an anagram. So it comes, it checks whether the lengths match, and it does. So it goes through all these character array and sorting, and now you can see all these letters will match. So it will be true, This is the third letter, true, 4, true, 5, true. So it exits the loop. Now match is set to true. So now it adds the word to our result. Now I have 2 letters in the result. I have Pavel and Valuk. Alright, so it goes to the next, which is totals. It doesn't even register because totals has 6 letters, so one more than Pavel, so it skips it. And now it comes to the word volap, which is another anagram for the word Pavel. Again, it comes over here, everything matches, so at the end the match will be true. All the letters match, all the characters match. So it comes over here, we have match, and again it adds that word as well. Now we have 3 words, we have Pavel, Valop, and Volap. And we're replacing it with the space. So if I come over here now, you can see that these 2 words, Valop and Volap, are gone. Instead, there are spaces or empty strings. All right, so let me just run through which one is that. Something it's not gonna even try to match. It's not. The next one is from. Again, the lengths don't match, and the last one, the length don't match. So now we have the first anagram completed. We have the first round. The word Pavel was found to be anagram with Valop and Volap. So now it exits the inner loop because it completed, and now we output the result. The result count is 3. Remember, we have 3 words: Pavel, Valop, and Volap. And now it outputs the result in the console, which is right here: Anagrams, Pavel, Valop, Volap. Moves to the next line, clears the result, and goes to the next word. All right, so that's how it goes. Now let me just do the next one, which would be the I just want to run it through. So I wanna show you the empty space, what it does. Now this one's doing I believe ABBA. Let me see. Oh, this is from, but it does, and this one is ABBA. Okay, so it's not gonna match. Match is false, and it goes to the next one. So let me just quickly do which one is this. Form, still form, and this one's from. So this one is going to match. You can see that there's gonna be match is true. That's the second letter, match is true. Third letter, fourth letter, match is true. Exits the loop, match, adds the word to the result. Now we have form and from, and replacing it with the space. So again, if I go to words now, you can see that it's replaced with space. So when it comes over here, all the spaces that it encounters, remember how we added the condition and if the word does not equal empty string. So all these spaces will be ignored. It's basically this condition will not be true. So it will be the same as if the words don't match or the number of letters don't match. Simply is going to skip over them. All right, so yeah, that's the anagram exercise. Hope this was helpful. Hope you can follow the logic of it, see what it's doing. Again, the source files will be available for download, but I suggest that you just type it yourself. That way you can practice more, and I definitely suggest you go through the debugger just to see it step by step how it adds and manipulates the data, what it actually does and what's happening along the way. So If you liked the video, if it was helpful, please click the like button. Don't forget to share with your friends. Don't forget to comment. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And I will see you next time. Take care.